Hey, hi everyone. My name is Yash, and today I welcome you back again to my YouTube channel Crazy Cloud. This is the 10th video of LWC learning series, and in this video we'll learn that how to fetch accounts and show it onto the UI, onto the load of the component. So in the previous video we have seen that how to show the account records or list of account after clicking a button. But what if I need all the account records to be shown onto the UI, onto the load of the component? I don't want to click the button, right? I just want that whenever I load the button or I load the page, I load the component, the all the 10 records should get visible, right? So without getting any delay, let's get started. So first, let's come on to the pen paper. So in the previous video, what we have done was we have created a lightning card and lightning button. Onto the click of this button, we were showing 10 records onto the UI, right? But what if I don't want to click the button? What if you have a scenario where you need to show all the 10 records whenever the component gets loaded? You do not need to click any button. You do not need to provide any user interaction, right? Onto the load of the button, you want to fetch all the accounts. So what we'll do? So we know that onto the load of the component, if we want to call Apex, we use wire services, right? If you haven't watched if you don't know what is wire services, you can go and watch you can watch my previous videos. I have explained the wire services there. So let's come on to the VS Code and create one Lightning Web component. Just name it as fetch, say, show accounts on load. So into the show accounts on load, let me copy the meta XML and save it first. HTML, JavaScript. Okay. So now what we'll do is we'll just call our Apex class. Let's open the Apex class which was called Salesforce. We will just use this class only and use this data only. So before calling the Apex classes, Apex methods, we always need to import them. Let's import fetch accounts over here and from the read Salesforce Apex slash all Salesforce dot the method name, and the method name is fetch account. Correct? Account. See here. And let's say I'm creating a list, ACC list here, and onto the load of the component, which means we need to use wire services. And in order to use wire services, first we need to import it. We have imported the wire services. Now let's call this method over here and store the result into ACC list. Right now, it's done. Save this, and here we'll just use a template for each. If you don't know what is for each, how to use for each, you can go and watch my previous video, ACC list, and here we'll just use for item. You can also give me a feedback of my content onto the below, like onto the comment sections. If you do not get understand what I'm explaining here, you can always contact me on LinkedIn. So, okay, now we are just iterating over this list. What we'll do, we'll just create a div, and inside that div, We'll just use acc dot name and acc dot industry. We know that this is case sensitive, so whatever apex is returning, we should use the same name, right? And onto the div, we need to use key before, because this is just the immediate child of the template for each tag, right? So let's say key should be acc.id only. Let's deploy this. What we have done, we have just used this wire service to fetch the account records, nothing else. Right now, let's go to the Salesforce org and put down that component. Have we created the lightning card? No, right? So first, let's create the lightning card. Lightning card. I always prefer to create lightning card because it, you know, beautifies the UI. Title, let's say, will keep as fetch accounts on load, right? And icon name should be standard, standard, and then account. And here the class would be SLDS, SLDS card body and inner. Save this. Sorry, and save this. Correct. So if you have any confusion in this code or anything, any functionality, you can just message me on LinkedIn, or you can just ask the question into the comment section. And now let's deploy. Let's Where is this component? Show accounts. So show accounts on load, and I'll just put this component over here. We have an error during LWC component connect phase. Let's see what is the error. Have we done something wrong? No. ECC list wire fetch account ECC list. Got the error. What we are doing is, see, we know that wire services, like whenever we use wire services, the results always, get stored in data and error. So result would have two arrays. One is data and one is array. One is error. So see, what we have done is, whenever we use at the rate wire services, the result always comes with data and error, right? And here what we have done is, we just stored the ACC list into the result, right? We cannot, we cannot iterate over this result. If we want to iterate the results, we need to use result dot data, right? So that was the error. So let's ACC list dot data, because ACC list is containing data as well as the errors, but we only need to iterate over the data part, not the error part. So we'll just use ACC list dot data. Correct. Now just refresh this page, reload. Wire show accounts on load. So now we do not have any errors, but again we do not have the records as well. So onto the load of the component, we have called the wire services ACC list we have, and then ACC list dot data. We are using ACC name. What happened? ACC list. Okay, fetch account wire also we are using. Okay, so we have made a mistake over here. So see, we know that whenever we use wire method, the apex method should always be annotated with or enabled cacheable equals to true. But here we are only calling the aura enabled method, not the aura enabled cacheable equals to true. So let's create one more method, or we can also make changes into the existing one. But yeah, let's go for the new one. And cacheable equals to true. So whenever we use wire services, you need to make sure that the apex method should be cacheable equals to true. While calling the apex methods imperatively, you do not need to. This is not required, right? So let's fetch account, change this name wire, deploy this code, call this fetch accounts wire over here, right? Save, deploy. Okay, so now we are calling the wire method correctly. And also, guys, this ACC list definition is not required because we are already declaring it over here. So let's do no, not delete. Let's deploy this source. And here we are using ACC list.data. Now we are not making any mistakes for sure. Now it should be visible. Let's refresh this page. See, now we are able to see the data. So again, guys, you always have to make sure that errors errors may come, but you need to traverse to your code and see where we are missing on to, right? So here, what we were doing earlier, we were just iterating over this ACs list. But again, let me tell you one thing: this ACC list contains the result of the whatever Apex is sending us, right? So ACC list will always contain result and data and errors, right? So you cannot directly, you cannot directly uh, loop towards this ACC list. You have to make sure that you are looping towards ACC list dot data, right? If you want to fetch onto the only ACC list, what you can do, you can just go for that approach, data, comma, error, but the code will get too lengthy. That's why we just use ACC list. And here ACC list dot data we are doing. And the second mistake what we made was we were not using cacheable equals to true onto the wire service method, right? So that's why errors are you know errors were coming onto our component. So this was it for this video, for this session. So let's see you under the next video. Until then, keep practicing.